Obviously, really fun second half. Last 10 minutes, just played unbelievable level. Really happy for Chase. He's been working, he's been shooting the ball extra for, months really, and just for whatever reason hasn't been able to maybe be as fortunate. And tonight, the good fortune followed him. All his hard work paid off, and certainly his shot making late was huge. I thought we just kind of hung in there. Really proud of our team. The game was, thought we were playing pretty well. It was kind of one of those back and forth games early, and we had that little 7-point lead, and then we had a really bad stretch the last 5 minutes. And I thought we took some quick shots, and obviously halftime was a even, or they're up one or whatever it was. And, second half back and forth, and they had that 6-point lead, and we had a little gut check time. But thought we made a couple adjustments, helped our guys, and then they just made big plays down the stretch. And fortunate to get a win. I give a lot of credit to our crowd. I want to thank them for their juice and energy tonight. We needed it. That's the kind of help that you need. They called 2 timeouts because the crowd was roaring as we made a couple shots and trying to get it to settle back down. So, again, thank our students and the fans that came to the game tonight. I think they made a big difference.
How refreshing was it that it was other guys besides PJ, because they were really not going to let him do anything?
Yeah, they were packing it in, making it hard. And we talked about that early in the first half that, we're going to have to see some other things, and other guys are going to have to be shot ready. And we kind of knew that might happen. So, yeah, that, certainly there were shots available, and Chase was really rolling. Ian made a huge three, I think, at the top of the key. I thought our post did a better job in the second half. I thought post got a little stagnant in the first half, and we got them moving a little better, and that helped us. So, yeah, it was terrific.
Coach, you guys have been playing much better D here of late compared to a month ago down at Coral Gables. What was the key to holding them to 60 points tonight?
Yeah, I don't know that it was anything. We've worked on our defense. Our defense, I've said this, and I think our numbers are probably skewed a little from a couple of bad games. I don't think we're as bad defensively as maybe what we look like in Ken Palm. We're not as good as we want to be, or maybe have been some years in the past. I think our guys have been fighting and competing, and I think when our bench plays well, I think that helps us on the defensive end, because we got guys like Josh and RJ and Dylan, Chauncey, who, those guys bring a level of athleticism to our team. And that also keeps our starters a little bit, more fresh, and then that helps us late in games like tonight.
How big is Jack's rebound?
Really big. Yeah, we didn't have Jack in the first game. And it just helps with matchups. It helps us when we need, when we need to play smaller, he can play some 4. We can play 3 guards to match them. And, it changes our team a little bit. We can play he and Wiggins together occasionally. Obviously, he can be the big 3 when he's playing with Ian or RJ. And so his 6 defensive rebounds I think he had. He had no turnovers. He had 3 assists. He had a great steal and layup. Made a 3. There's one shot I didn't like, but I thought he played a really good game. And he's an older guy, so he's been through some things, and he was significant tonight.
One of the things you did really well on those 2 big road wins was avoiding turnovers. You had 7 in the first half tonight, but just 1 in the second half.
Yeah, we've done a pretty good job most of the year. Obviously, Syracuse very poor, but sometimes we get going and we're trying to play a little faster than we need to, and it's everybody says throw it inside, and that's fine, but it's those passes aren't as easy as someone just making passes around a perimeter sometimes, and so there's going to be for every one you get in there, or couple that you get in there, you're going to have one that's not going to be an easy pass, and if you don't make the right read or put it exactly where it needs to go, it's going to get deflected. And so, that takes a real skill to deal with that. We always have a couple of turnovers that way, but, I feel like more times than not we get it down there or create something because of our post play.
How much have you had to manage PJ's and Ian's practice?
A lot lately. probably the last 3 weeks. It's been a lot. You know, they didn't practice. We were off Sunday. They didn't practice Monday. You know, you're getting them in and out a little bit on Tuesday. And, you know, it's funny. I thought at Syracuse a little bit when you don't practice and then all of a sudden those dudes aren't exactly the quickest guys. And so now you're in a game with some high-level athletes and the game is going quick. If you haven't practiced, you're not quite used to it sometimes. And, you know, but that's kind of just where we are. They won't practice tomorrow. We'll do very little tomorrow. And they probably won't do very much on Friday just so they can have their legs for what'll be a hard game against an athletic group at NC State on Saturday.
Speaking of NC State, you obviously met Ben Middlebrooks well.
Yep.
He's having a good season.
Yeah.
Just what are your thoughts? I don't know how much you've been able to see of them so far this season.
I mean, I've seen them in spot time. I haven't. There have been a couple games where we've watched. Like I watched some of their game for Miami. Yeah, Ben's doing a nice job. You know, I'm happy for Ben, and he's a good player, and that's why we recruited him. And we're not surprised that he's helping their team in the least. So, you know, I'll say hello to him right before the game, and then we'll both go about the business of trying to win. So.
Josh Beadle in the second half, 6 points off the bench. What was his performance like?
Good. You know, I met with him. When I met with our team on Sunday a while back, the week prior. You know, we had a good meeting, but then I didn't think leading into Syracuse he didn't practice very well. You know, and so it was guys were just playing well, and we were kind of rolling. I just didn't get him in there. You know, when we met and talked about it on Sunday again, or Monday, I should say. And I just said, hey, man, I really think this week you can help our team. We need you, but you got to practice well. And, you know, Josh had good practices. And so, you know, I told him you're going in early, you know, and not surprised by his performance. I think Josh is a good player. You know, he gives us another dynamic with some speed and playmaking, and when he's locked in defensively, he can be a factor on both ends. So happy for Josh, really proud of him. Those were big minutes, really big.
How did you feel like the three ball going at home after?
Yeah, we've had some tough days shooting in here, and so yeah, it's important. I mean, obviously, it changes everything, right? I mean, you make a couple threes, and crowd gets into the game, and gives your guys a little more juice to guard. You know, it's just it's exciting, right? It pumps everybody up, and we've had some games. Obviously, we made one and we made four, and we actually defended well in both those games. But we're not going to win when you make that few a number. And so you gotta have a good mix to your game if you want to play well or play at a high level. Tonight we did.
Chase said he's never seen you gesture into the fans like you.
You know, it's funny. I love our fans, but we don't always know that. And I said to some folks on the radio, like, hey, guys, it's third down. Let's go. It's third down. It's third and long. We need to stop. Like, let's, you know, and it's amazing how that changes everything. Then the offense, they're trying to call out plays. They're not sure if they can hear them. You know, it puts a little anxiety there and making the right play, and it sometimes causes a turnover, causes a bad shot. And then sometimes the opposing coach, like you call timeout. And so they called 2 timeouts because the crowd noise was loud. And then at the end of the game, they don't have any in the last 2 minutes because they've had to use it because your crowd is so loud that we're trying to all – I mean, I do the same thing. You try to – when the building gets loud, sometimes you just got to try to – as a coach, we're not playing against this. We're going to call timeout and see if they'll get revved back up again. And most fans don't, you know. And so it's huge. And obviously it energizes our players. I mean, our guys are on their toes bouncing around to play defense, and, you know, it's like, why can't we be this way all the time, guys? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but so, yeah, that was huge. We've had great fan turnout all year. You know, there have been a couple games we haven't made enough shots to help keep them excited, but tonight they were huge. Thanks to our marketing folks and all the students and everybody that came out.
Ian had 3 assists tonight. That last one, the PJ for the dunk, was really pretty. Has to get you excited to see him passing like that.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 guys work together, play together. They've done that a million times. You know, that's great basketball. Fun to watch.
come so close,
Yeah.
just emotionally.
Yeah.
Feel like there's a little bit of an opposite of that now building in terms of
Yeah, but every game is its own. I think that's one thing, you don't get to bottle this up and take it with you Saturday. You start ground zero. And, all the shots that guys made, like they're going to be in ground zero. Now, you hope that their psyche is good, right? That they come into the game with more positive vibes and spirit and all those kinds of things. But that's one of the things about basketball. It starts back again. We gotta get all geared back up, and we gotta recharge our battery and fill our tank and get ready to go again. So, but I do think, having won, I reminded our guys at halftime, guys, we've last two games have come to the final 4 minutes tied. We've been on the road and we've been able to execute, because it was almost like at halftime our team was a little, I don't want to say down, but it's like, oh man, we just lost that lead. And like, you could tell like the emotional energy level was low. And there's a little bit of like, let's get our swagger back here now. Like, we're fine. Like, we played pretty well for most of the half. And, and then it was hard back and forth there early in the second half. And Miami's credit, they played well first 10 minutes and they had a lead. But our guys, we kept encouraging that, hey, we're fine. We've been here. We've come from behind. We're going to make a couple threes. The crowd will get going. Let's just keep playing. And thankfully it happened.
What do you contribute these runs you've done at the ends of games here, the last 3 games?
Good players. I mean, it's mostly good players making plays. You got to get stops. And then your guys have to make basketball plays. You try to put them in some positions, but we're helping with some plays every now and then. There's certainly some actions and things we've taught them to help. But at the end of the day, they've got to execute. They're the ones that got to make the high-low pass. Ian's got to flash up there and knock it down. Chase has got to get his feet set, drill it from the corner. Like, and you look like a good coach when guys make shots, and when we miss them and it doesn't turn out well, there's not a lot of difference sometimes. And you just keep trying to put your guys in positions to be successful and give them confidence to finish plays.
With NC State coming up, I'm just curious, in this age of transfers, does Jack Clark give you the skinny on their players and Ben Milbrooks?
Nah,
and the
both
tendencies of-
both staffs, like the amount of work that we do, we don't need a lot of help. Like, is there some nugget that they could tell us about somebody? Maybe there's some small nugget, but those guys don't think like we do, right? Like, those guys they got other things they're thinking about. Like, they're not coming into my office, hey coach, I want to give you the dirt on all of NC State. Like, I mean, our guys are studying it and their staff studies it, and at the end of the day, the players make the plays.
Coach, when Joseph gets into a groove like he was tonight, how does that change how you approach offensively?
Yeah, I mean, certainly when a guy makes a couple shots, you might call their number another time or two, right, to keep them going. But you're not changing everything you do, right? You still know you got to have a good mix. You got to keep trying to feed each other, and you're trying to read how they're playing, and spread the court. Got into some good ball screen stuff tonight, late. Picked our spots in the second half with our post entries. But Joe was confident early and knocked a couple threes down, which, he played with good confidence and poise early, and felt like he's going to shoot the ball and play well tonight.
Coach, Chase Hunter had a season high of 5 3-pointers made and
Yeah.
8 3-pointers attempted. How does it help the team when he can stretch the floor? Like
Yeah,
that?
just it makes it easier to get the ball inside. It takes pressure off Joe. It's the thing about Chase is when he is making shots like that, and then he's also getting by and getting in the paint, 3-level scorer. So now he's, that's a different player. A lot of guys can't play at all 3 levels, and that's significant.